G'day guys, Scotty True Blue here again with another video, an instructional video. This time to show you how to do a double line pull recovery with your winch. If you're out there and you get bogged and you got a winch and you hook it up to a tree and it doesn't pull you out, you need a pulley block. I'll show you one of those, and you can do a 2-line pull. That doubles the strength of your winch. Let me show you how you rig it up. First things first, you're going to need a winch. Second thing you're going to need is a pulley block. This one is set up for soft shackles and using Dyneema winch rope. If you're looking for somewhere you can buy some good ones of these, George 4x4, Recovery and More, or George Lifting. You look up his website. Stuff's made in Australia. He makes it himself here in Queensland. Look it up. Good stuff. Good gear. So the other thing you're going to need, obviously, is a tree to connect to. You need a decent tree, and you need something to hook around that tree. So I like to use these lifting slings. They're nice and cheap. Again, from George 4x4, Recovery and More, George Lifting. Look him up. Good stuff. Makes good quality stuff. Only carries good quality stuff. Anyway, a lifting sling. These things are so cheap. You can buy them. This one's a green one. This one's rated a bit higher. You can get purple ones. They're probably rated high enough for your car. But yeah, they're pretty strong. They're cheap as. I think the little purple 2-metre ones from Bunnings are only something like $20, but their quality is a bit ordinary. Oh, it might be a little bit less than that actually. Quality's a bit ordinary though. Go to George 4x4, get a good quality one. You compare the two, and you'll see the difference. But anyway, so all I'm going to do is set up this sling, lifting sling. Now, lifting slings will have a rating for lifting. Okay, most recovery equipment will be rated for its braking strain. If you get a snatch strap or a kinetic strap, it's rated at its braking strain, not a safe working load. Difference is a crane, it's operating in a city, tower crane, it's lifting things over the top of people. It needs to have a much higher safety rating. Recovery on the ground, especially with synthetic stuff, it's pretty safe. I know stuff can snap and can fly, but it's not going to drop a big lump of concrete on top of people's heads. So anyway, let's get this thing set up and we'll get into it. All you need to do is wrap your sling around the tree, your anchor point. It's now doubled up, so that's twice its strength. Now we're going to get our soft shackle and our pulley block attached to this, and then wrap our winch rope around it. I'll show you how to set that up. Alright, many winches are different. First thing you got to do is declutch it. Make it free spool. Then you find the end of the rope. And if you've got synthetic rope, a winch, this is how you need the end of the rope. Just a spliced eyelet on the end of the rope. No need to have a hook. It's just another piece of metal that you don't want to have. Now it's free spooling. I'll grab my soft shackle and pulley block and walk with it and free spool this rope out. This is where my anchor point meets. I'm going to need twice that amount of rope. There's a couple of ways of doing that. You can wrap this around your pulley block and then walk back to your truck, or you can just walk twice this distance. Somewhere there looks good to me. Now, you'll need to attach the end of the rope to an appropriate point on your vehicle, recovery point. I'm going to use a soft shackle, again, no metal, so it's much safer. I'll attempt to do this one-handed. I'd like to see you do this with a steel shackle. Yep, lost it. Struggling. One-handed. Oh, got it. Alright. Now put your eyelet of your winch rope nice and close to the eyelet of the soft shackle. Gives it a bit more insurance policy. Make sure you've got a bit of that. It doesn't really matter if you've got this extra tubing on on the soft shackle, but it helps protect them from sharp edges. There's no sharp edges here though, but so that's looking pretty good, nice and strong. Soft shackle's rated way higher than the rope and way higher than the winch. And the anchor point is definitely rated much higher than all of this equipment. You always want to have the winch rope as your weakest link. So if anything's going to snap, it's the winch rope. You're not going to have anything flying at you. Alright, let's go back up the other end. As you see, I've got plenty of length here. Now at this point in time, you can think of the rope as being live because it's attached to the vehicle. If you're, for example, if you're on a hill and you're trying to winch yourself up a hill, if for some weird reason it was just to let go, pop out of gear, or something was to let go and the vehicle's to race off, this rope is going to go with it, it's live. So it might hook onto a tree root or a big rock or something like that and then snap and things can fly. So think of the rope as being live at this point once you've hooked it up with there. So you want to not step over it and things like that, keep people away. Grab your soft shackle with the pulley block on it. Again, trying to work one-handed. It's a bit challenging. I'm just give myself a bit more slack on that. There we go, through the two ends of the lifting sling, our tree strap. Make sure our pulley has our winch rope around it. Make sure our winch rope is not twisted. Lay it on there like that. Okay. Grab this end of the soft shackle around, over the knot. Bingo bango, you're hooked up. And feed that all of that around back to the lifting slings. And you want to make sure that your winch rope is going around the soft shackle pulley block like this. So once you take up the slack, a little bit of slack there. Once I take up the slack, I'll just check that, make sure that's on there. Otherwise, if that's in there, bad juju. It's gonna tear away at that soft shackle and snap it. Okay, righto. Nice and simple. We'll go and take up some tension, and then we'll check our equipment for safety, and then we'll go and winch this vehicle forward. Right, with our winch remote here, front. Take up the slack here. Now I'm just going to make sure, there's got a fair bit of slack here, and we'll make sure that that's laying on the drum nicely. It's less critical with a synthetic rope, but we're on the lowest layer there, so that's pretty good. I like that. It's laying on there pretty good. What do I forget to do? Connect the clutch, the dog clutch. You gotta re-clutch it. Now we're cooking with gas. At this point in time, you want to have all the people that don't need to be here, not here. Especially those know-it-all people that want to come in and take over with all their good ideas because they've been watching stuff on TV and whatnot. Sometimes they just can get in the way. If you trust them and they're good people and they're not just trying to railroad you, then it might be useful. Keep them by your side. Everybody else, get them out of the area. Anyway, take up a bit more tension. See, that's rolling around. That's pulley block nicely. Starting to take up a little bit of tension now. It's pretty good. Now it's going to make sure there's no sharp things going to rip into my strap. It's nice and reasonably low around the tree. It's a big tree, so I don't have to stress too much. And no, I didn't ring bark it. That's my goats. Anyway, that's looking good. Just going to check along the winch rope as well. Make sure there's nothing wrong with it. Can't see any frayed bits. It's not going to snap on me. Make sure that's looking good there. My anchor point onto the vehicle. The winch drum's looking good. I think we're good to go. Pretty simple, straightforward. double line pull. So if this winch, I'll tell you, this winch is rated at 7.5 tonne. So with a double line pull, it's rated at 15 tonne. It's a lot. It's a fair bit. So it's a lot of load to put on things. So if 15 tonne lets go, something's going to snap. It's going to go twang pretty hard. So at this point in time, you just want to be mindful of that. And if it's like an elastic band, if it's going to snap from there, it's going to go that way. If it's going to snap from here, it's going to go back towards the vehicle. Obviously, if you're winching this vehicle, self-recovering, you need to be in the cab or have someone in the cab driving. It is what it is. They just have to be mindful that this is going to fly back towards them if something snaps. That's why you got to make sure the winch rope is your weakest link. So if this snaps, that's going to go flying, and that's the only piece of metal we've got in this equation. That's going to go flying that way. So safety. Winch rope is the weakest link. This is strong, that's strong. Only the winch rope will snap. But you just never know when things have faulty little bits. You can look at them all you like, you can test them and check them and recheck them, but you just never know. Sometimes there can be fibres that are damaged and you can't tell. But you do your best to check everything. Anyway, let's pull this truck forward. Putting some load on that winch, but it's pulling that truck forward. Easy as that. Now, if you're pulling a fair distance, if you're pulling yourself out of the mud, just give the winch a rest every now and then. Run it for, I don't know, it'll say in its manual, but run it for say 30 seconds or so, and then give it a minute or two to rest, just so it doesn't build up too much heat. If you've just got a minute worth of winching to do, just go for it. Yeah, we're dragging back tyres. Dragging both back tyres, isn't that good? Piece of cake. Anyway, that's that. Let's say we're out of the bog right now. Now that you've got it out of the bog, you need some slack so you can disconnect things, yeah? So there's two ways of doing that. You can either just drive forward, just be mindful. If you drive forward and then you make a mistake and then you roll back and you tighten this up, you're going to shock load your equipment and you can snap stuff. Bad juju, don't do that. So just be careful. Make sure you drive forward far enough and get some slack on that rope. Second thing you do is just winch out. So that we don't birdcage our winch rope. However, synthetic rope doesn't matter so much. You can birdcage that all you like, and it's not going to matter. It's not going to damage the rope. Steel wire rope though, if you birdcage it, it will generally damage your rope when you'll take up the tension again, and that's how a lot of steel wire winch ropes get destroyed. But not an issue with synthetic rope. However, I'll demonstrate how to do that. So with your winch rope, take out tension and winch out, but you need a bit more slack than that. So you don't birdcage it, I'm just going to link a finger onto the rope there, lean back, winch out, and just pull back on that. That way there's still tension on the rope coming out of the winch. It's not going to birdcage, and if anything goes wrong, this winch rope's going to fall out of my finger and I'll fall backwards. Anyway, that's enough slack there, and we'll stop winching. And we'll get rid of that. Now we come up here. Once again, one-handed. Let's see if I can do this. Get some slack. Let's look at our soft shackle. Make our loop a bit bigger. See our knot through. Piece of cake. Right. If you haven't switched to synthetic equipment, you need to get yourself some soft shackles, synthetic soft shackles, synthetic slings. Lifting slings are great, but most importantly, synthetic winch rope. Anyway, I'm going to pack all this up, disconnect off the truck there, and put all this stuff back where it belongs. One thing with your pack up the thing that's going to take the most amount of time is putting your winch rope away. You got to wind that winch rope all the way back in. Winches are pretty slow. Everything else is pretty quick, putting your stuff away in its storage compartments. So you just want to get someone straight away, first things first, get someone out here leaning back on the winch rope just so that it lays in nice and neat on the drum. If you just put a bit of weight on it and pull straight, it'll generally lay in there pretty nicely. Piece of cake. And then meanwhile someone else can be putting the other stuff away, rolling up the sling and putting the soft shackles away. Pretty easy. Now you're not putting any serious load on the winch, so your duty cycle you can winch for longer doing this, but you still want to be mindful that you're going to build up heat in the motor and in the drum brake inside the drum, and so just keep an eye on that. If you go getting too much heat in there, you can do some damage to your winch. Beautiful. Right, I hope you got something out of that, fellas. Remember, George 4x4, good quality gear, Australian made. I'm not sponsored, I just like the fact that he makes the stuff here in Australia, and money stays here. Yep, I'm sure some of this stuff is probably, the raw materials probably come from elsewhere, unfortunate. Can't get them elsewhere, can't get them in Australia. We don't make that stuff, but at least he's making this gear himself here in Australia. So anyway, look him up on the website. I'll add the link in the description or up on this side or this side, somewhere up there. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.